atheism is a very large group of people. So this will not cover everyone. But here we will go over some misconception of atheist in general. False, a resounding big fat lie. Let's be realistic, what sane human isn't afraid of death really? Only the unknown part of death is enough to scare anyone. The greatest psychiatrist will assure you that even suicidal people who finally commit suicide, in reality they are terrified of death, but they tend to kill themselves because of their illness, or because they didn't want to suffer anymore, not because they were not afraid of death. Atheists actually might be more afraid of death than people who are religious, simply because they realize that once this life ends, then there's nothing more waiting for them. It seems like only truly religious people, and especially Christians, do not fear death, as they know, or at least hope, that something way greater is waiting for them after life, unlike atheists. Of course, there have been enough scientists, philosophers and thinkers who were true atheists, but to make such a claim for the vast majority of them is just another ridiculous rumor that many people tend to believe. Some people just cannot simply accept the fact that science or philosophy can band together with religion. And it might be true that many great scientists and thinkers of the past and present have not been very religious, but that doesn't mean that they were atheists. In reality, most atheists are agnostic atheists. An agnostic atheist is atheistic because he or she does not believe in the existence of any deity, and is also agnostic because he or she does not claim to have definitive knowledge that a deity does exist. On the other hand, most scientists, such as Francis Collins, Isaac Newton, and James Clerk Maxwell, were either very religious, or the ones who were not that religious, or claimed to be atheists, such as Voltaire and Nicolas Kazantzakis, were nothing more than confused and probably scared people, who were constantly fighting an internal battle to accept or not the existence of God, and this can clearly show in the biggest part of their works and life. Atheism is more of an ideology regarding the lack of belief in a god or gods, nothing more. If we deconstruct the term atheism, we find theism, which means without theism, which, in turn, means without belief in God or gods. It is, therefore, not a positive belief or a claim to knowledge. Atheism is simply the lack of the belief in God. This one is particularly popular, and it seems like exclusively to in the United States, but it must be the most ridiculous one as well. Most atheists, to begin with, reject God, which means that they automatically reject Satan as well. It would be impossible to worship something that they don't even acknowledge its existence. What is interesting, though, is to examine this myth from a hardcore atheist's perspective, that live in a Western Christian society. If you ever get a chance to have a conversation with someone like this, you might find out that to him or her there is no bigger devil than God himself. According to them, God is misogynistic, homophobic, murderous, and cruel. And all round not a very nice guy. But going back to the base of this argument, atheism assumes the convincing position that there are no deities or any supernatural beings, which would include Satan or the devil. So worshipping the devil is not an option here. There are people out there who really believe that atheists are a true menace to society, because they can do anything they want, since they don't believe in hell or afterlife. If that was the case and atheists were fearless of divine eternal punishment, there's something called law enforcement and the penitentiary system that scares all the citizens equally, regardless of their belief, race, religion and such things. That's wrong. Atheists just don't want to be harmed by it, and want to feel free to decide what the best is for them and their families. they just don't want to be saved, or be annoyed by what they believe is religious dogma. This might be true only for some desperate nihilists, who find refuge with any ideology or term that dismisses life, but that is not the case for most atheists. On the contrary, it seems like atheists realize how precious our life is in this world, because they usually tend to believe that it's our only one. So, this may come as a shock to most people, who think of atheists as nihilists with no hope, but most atheists love and live their lives to the fullest. Most atheists think that they live life only once, and they treat it as their most precious gift. Some believe that most atheists deep down actually believe in God, even though everyone who makes such claims often tends to also think that they believe in their particular God, but have just rejected God out of rebellion, spite, fear, or because of some childhood religious incident. In fact, there might be some hidden truth to this theory, but not with every atheist, of course. There have been some reported cases, such as with Voltaire and Freud, where the very strict and severe Christian childhood social and family environment forced them to the side of atheism. But on the other hand, there are many atheists who didn't have a bad experience at all. Conversely, they have nothing but good memories, from their grandmother taking them to church, to the sunny Sunday mornings in the park after church, and so on. Then myself included. Simply started to question and to wonder what happened when they applied the standards of logic, reason and burden of proof of religion, as they already did with everything in their lives. And let's not forget all the people who were never believers even from the beginning, and who just never cared to believe in something sacred and superior. It can happen too.